Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. As promised, this is just a very quick video flip through of the journal that I made for my partner as this year's 2019 Christmas make. She is a very small journal. She's 4 inches by 6 inches and she's just a single signature, fabric covered with 3-hole pamphlet stitch. On an oriental theme, as you can see, and she's very much a lookbook because my partner doesn't use the journals I make, but likes to have a look at the techniques and ideas that I try to include in it. This one was on the cards from 2018 because we were very lucky to do a tour of China in 2018. And it's been my long life dream to go to Japan and see the geishas, and we're actually managing to do that in 2021, so a long time to wait, but I'm still very excited about that. So anyway, without further ado, this is the journal. The cover is raw silk and it's a bright orange colour. It looks a little bit red to me on the screen that I'm looking at the moment, but it is bright orange. Then I've matted this Kyoto geisha picture. I've inked and stitched it round, but I've matted it on some very, very pale gold raw silk as well. 3-hole pamphlet stitch. It's stitched all the way round in a very, very pale gold thread. And this, I think these are Feng Shui coins, but I picked it up when I was in China, and then I just put on top this little Japanese maple because we both like bonsais and Japanese maples, and there's just a very thin piece of elastic to act as my closure. So going inside, still a little bit stiff. This was an image in a book that I had, and it's part of a bonsai image. A little bit of Chinese text down there and along the bottom there. This is tracing paper, double thickness, that I've stitched round and included a pressed rose petal from our garden. This page, this was something we bought in China whilst we were there. It's laminated, hand painted, but when you flip it over you can see that it is the inside, and then some lovely orange, bright orange silk at the top there. So that's just clipped in with a Ranger paper clip on the side there. Some more of that image that I used on the front cover, and I've just organically torn it and glued it to this page. More Chinese book text. Everything is tea stained and stitched. This is another image from the same book. I've made a little pocket here. I've done a bit of a collage with some stamped linen and some little tiny Chinese text images and Japanese text images. Inside is just a little hand-folded origami envelope that I made out of some Japanese book text, and I just put a little stamp. You'll see these throughout. What I tried to do is make it look as oriental as I could, so every time I came across one of these images of their text, I cut it out, inked it and stamped it, and then this is how it looks on the back, and it is an origami fold, so it all opens out. My partner will probably kill me because it took me ages to learn how to fold this envelope, but that's what it looks like when it's opened out. And that's the envelope, and I'm not even going to remotely try to fold it on screen here, so I'll do that later, and hopefully I can remember how to do it, otherwise I'm in trouble. Another image there, oriental image. This is some of my oak leaf eco dyed paper Oh no, it's not oak leaf, that's a smoke bush. We have a smoke bush in the garden. Some of the images I've put layered onto some more of the raw silk, but I love that little image. Some more layering with some smaller scale book page up there. A little bit of handmade paper here with some more raw silk, and another little Japanese maple that I've stamped onto a piece of linen. You've seen this, I use it a lot. It's the film from a photo album, and it's textured with leaves. Another image with a little Chinese or Japanese lettering up there. More layering down there. And it's just a flip on some ledger paper. Just, as I say, it's just more of a lookbook for her. Mountain scene. Then calligraphy for happiness. I think this is Japanese, but all this paper here is Chinese paper. All the pages are stitched, and there's a little kind of Japanesey thing here. Some silks behind it. Nice image of a geisha there. All these images I sourced off the internet or from a book that I had, and when they've printed out they're quite muted, which has worked well with the book. So more layering of text on this eco dyed paper there. More layering onto silk. This is an image that I've layered onto a main page as a Chinese stamp up there. Some more definition flashcard. This is a tag that I made with another one of these dangles, and I've just backed it onto some book page again. Another little journaling card. The bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that resists. And that has meaning for both of us because we have our lovely oak tree in the front garden. Another one of these lovely little images I stitched and backed onto some raw silk. Some Confucius sayings are dotted throughout. So this one says, everything has beauty, but not everyone sees it. This, as you can see, is a image that I covered over with some very, very fine, I think it's like onion skin paper, but I just looked how it looked when I did it, and it softened the image. Again, it's been inked and stitched all round, and I think that's supposed to be the cherry blossom. Another little image there for you to see. This is a tag that I made, or a journaling card that I made, and then it just has a little dangle at the top. And again, I tried to keep all the colours oranges or reds to match the cover. It's a pretty autumnal theme. I loved this image. I mean, Japanese art is very much this sort of watercolour look. So I tried to include a lot of those in, laid it up with a little stamp and some more text there. But what I chopped off, I used on the other side. I just thought that went quite well, marrying the two together. This is the centre of the signature, and obviously you'll recognise that iconic image, and it just flips open there, and there's a definition there. The floating world, living in the moment, detached from the bothers of life. I just thought that was nice. And another watercolour type bonsai image there. On this side, I'll just take that off for the minute. There are koi carp here, and again I've layered it with some onion paper. This flips out like that, and then you can see the full extent of the bonsai picture, and I just love that. It was too nice to cover up, so I left it very, very plain. So that just folds in. what I unclipped off that page was this dangle, or this charm, and I actually picked this up when we were lucky enough to do our tour in China in 2018. And this is marble. It's a couple of marble stones, beads on the top, tiny little seed beads there, and then some knotting there. I just thought it was absolutely lovely, so I snaffled it up when I saw it, knowing that I would be doing this journal for 2019. An image of Kyoto in the snow there, and again back some more silk with some more book page, and that's the same image, but I reduced it and did the same thing, backed it onto raw silk. Here there is the one and only picture that I have of an actual geisha, and my mum and dad were lucky enough to go to Kyoto many moons ago when my father was alive and in the services, and they took this photograph of this geisha, this lady, or young girl actually, who is a geisha, or was a geisha, and to protect it I've just covered it over with some film, and it is protected on the back as well. But I just, because it's not going, this journal is not going out of our family, I just thought I would pop it in there, although it is very precious to me. An original stamp there, another little journaling card that's clipped too, and this one, sorry, that coin is clanking, the one on the front cover is clanking. This is another image of a geisha sat beneath a cherry blossom, and I've just backed it on the back, and there's another definition there, wasabi, and a stamp. I mean, there is room for my partner to write in this, but I know that won't happen. This was a card that I found, and I decided that I would use it in the journal, and as you can see, it's a beautiful die cut with swallows, and it's supposed to be the iconic wave, and then that's what it's supposed to be representing. So that's just tucked in behind it. This actually is, I was going to say this is actually oak eco-dyed paper, but it isn't. It's more of the smoke tree. Oops, turned over 2 pages there. Just left the threads loose on this page, but it is stitched. There's a lovely image of a bamboo there with another definition. Sunlight that filters through the leaves of trees. And this is actually, pop this down so I can get that paper clip out the way, because this is quite delicate. This actually is a Chinese die cut, and these are terribly fine. Let's open it up. I've sandwiched it between 2 pages, but look at that, it's so delicate. It really is as thin as the tissue that I've put it between, and I bought a packet of these when I was in China, but I've tried gluing them onto pages and they're just too delicate. So now what I tend to do if I use them is I sandwich them and stitch them between tracing paper or vellum, and use it very much as a stitched pocket. Here I've just put it between these 2 pieces of fine tracing paper, and I have just clipped it with a paper clip to this sheet of ledger paper behind, and it will stay in there quite happily. It doesn't move, but I couldn't resist including that in there. But it just won't take glue at all. It just kind of disintegrates when you try to use any glue. This was what was clipped to the other side, and that's just swifts or swallows over some bamboo, a little bit of layered book text. And there's more of the image on the back. This one has got that very, very fine tracing paper over the top of it again. I just liked the effect that that gave me, so I got a little bit carried away when I was doing it in the journal. More of that very fine photo protection paper. We're almost at the end now. Oh, this is a lovely image. I love the snow as much as I love oriental themed things. So putting the two together, I couldn't resist. There's another little image of some text, and I again put some just embroidery silk behind it, just to make it look a little bit more oriental. Loved this image and couldn't resist it. Wanted to include it, so I included it as a flip out. Hold that up. Just love the colours in that one. I thought this one of the rice fields went quite well because of the green that was on the back of that picture. So I thought that went quite well in there. And then some more bamboo or layering. Silence is a true friend who never betrays, another Confucius saying. Then I made a little tracing paper pocket with a little doodad thing there, and included in it just some of the pictures that I had sourced for using in this journal but never got round to actually putting in the journal for one reason or another. So I just included them in as little tabs or bits of interest. There's another image of a geisha there. Oh, and these are actually playing cards that I thought looked oriental because of the bamboo, and I quite like them. So I included those in just for a little bit of interest. Particularly the red one, even though it's a parrot on the front. I mean, I know cranes and geese are quite symbolic to, I'm not sure if it's Japanese or Chinese culture, but this one really because of the red colour and a little image of a pagoda down there. So they go in that pocket there. And then that's just the back cover. And just for a little bit of interest, I included that little bit of layering there. So that is my 2019 journal make. Very simple, more of a lookbook, as I say, than anything else, but I certainly enjoyed making it, and my partner certainly enjoyed receiving it. And actually I've been done proud this year because I've actually received 2 journals as my own 2019 makes. So I will do videos of those because they are absolutely amazing. So I want to share those videos with you. I can't believe how good they are. They are, I mean, my partner does a journal once a year, if that, as our Christmas make, and that is it, no other crafting. And I have to say, there's loads of things in those 2 journals that I received this year that have inspired me. Loads of ideas that I'm going to be snaffling and using. So I want to share those with you. But very quickly, before I go, I want to show you something that I was so lucky to receive as a Christmas present this year. And this wasn't even my main Christmas present. These came from my brother and sister-in-law, and they weren't even my main present. They were just a little something extra that they found whilst they were on a weekend in Guildford just before Christmas and thought I might like. Oh my goodness. They thought I might like them. Well, I was ecstatic. They are absolutely gorgeous. They saw a box of these, believe it or not, a whole box, and they just picked up 6 thinking, well, Carol might like these. If she doesn't, it doesn't matter. But do you know, I don't even think these are vintage. I think these are antique, and I'll show you why in a second. They are all Shakespearean plays. They are, the covers are textured. I don't know if you can see. And they all have this beautiful, beautiful embossing on all of them. There is this embossing. It's stunning. And it's all slightly different. And then there is this gilding on the spines. The pages are gilded. But then when you go inside, they all have this crest inside. The pages are beautiful. It's all a thick quality paper, like handmade paper. Well, I'm sure it's handmade paper. The pages are all different sizes, and there's various bits of quotes and information about what edition it is and the date. I can't find a date that these were printed or published. Then there's, all of them have like a mushroom skinned onion skinned page to them with a quote. They all have this lovely embossing inside, and then you start coming to the actual text of the plays themselves. Now, can you see all the pages are almost as if they're torn? Well, actually that's what they are, because when you start going through the actual pages themselves, they are joined together. If I put my hand here, let's do it this way, that's better. They are, can you see? They're joined together. And I'm no expert, but I know old books, they used to actually slice the pages. So a lot of the pages are single like this, but then every now and then you come across a couple of pages that haven't been torn. And I think this is another one. There you go. And they used to just rip them open. And that's why all the edges are uneven and ripped and different, slightly different sizes. But oh my goodness, I was in absolute ecstasy. And this was just my something little extra, or sorry, an extra little something from them. So I had to share those with you. I was questioning them like nobody's business, saying, oh, where in Guildford? Guildford is a town in the UK, for those of you who aren't from the UK. But I have to say, I was giving them the third degree, saying, oh, where in Guildford? So they did try and explain where they'd found them in Guildford, because apparently there was a huge box of these, and these were pence, apparently, absolute pence. So I just couldn't believe it. Anyway, sorry, enough of that. I'm still giddy at having received these, but let me reassure you, I will not be chopping these up in the slightest. I will not be repurposing the covers or ripping any of the pages out. They are just too absolutely gorgeous. I will be scanning them and using them as scanned copies, but I will be reading these because I happen to love Shakespeare, particularly Henry V, who's one of my favourite plays. So after I've read them, I will be scanning and using some of the pages in my collages, etc. So sorry about that. I just had to show you and enthuse. So I hope you like seeing them, and hope you're all still enjoying your Christmas and looking forward to the start of 2020. Have a lovely day, everybody. Take care, and I love you all. Bye bye now.